Hey, this is Lance with 20-Sided Night. We got Nate, we got Craig, and we also have Evan, who's also from 20. So we're all from 20-Sided Night, and this is Grock Talk number 5, the bad one. I don't know why I do that.
That was really ominous.
Yeah, I don't know why you do that voice.
Because we're all wearing dark clothes. We're all
Is that going to be the title of the episode?
You know what? Like, why don't you point that out earlier? That we're all so dark, and now I feel awkward about it.
Yeah, because I'm always dark.
I appreciate it.
There's a few topics that I feel like, okay. So there's a few things that I kind of want to go over. One would be, Paizos are coming out with a lot of books lately. Like, I think they've been here for like a year and some change, maybe.
Right.
With Starfinder, maybe a year and 7 months. And there's already, 15 books out?
There are 15 campaigns.
Okay, 15 campaigns, and it's still a lot. But then how many...
And the rule books, I think there were about 8. 8
rule books, and that's about the same amount that...
But I don't know the differences between them, how many of them are required.
Well, no.
There were 2 Armory books, I know that. Mm-hmm. And then there was the core rule book, and I think there were 2 Alien Archives.
Well, so nothing's really required after the core rulebook,
yeah,
right.
Just because it has the core, the player's handbook and the DMG in there, and it also gives you some ways on how to stat out a monster. But a lot of people, it is kind of easy to get suckered into buying an Alien Archive, and the Alien Archive 2, and the Alien Archive 3 that's coming out later on this year in September, I think. And then, the Pact Worlds campaign setting, stopping when you get bored of me naming off books here. All of the, you got the Against the Aeon Throne campaign setting, the Pact Worlds campaign setting.
How many do we own?
So, we own,
2.
this isn't Russia, so, no. We own all the books that are out right now on PDF.
Yeah, because we got the core book, Armory, and then Alien Archives 1 and 2.
Yeah, and then we don't have is Pact Worlds.
Yeah.
We have the Armory, like you said. Skittershot's a free download, so I don't really take that into consideration.
Yeah.
But there's 8 books out. We're gonna discount the modules for right now, just because again, those aren't as needed.
Yeah, you don't need those. You can just make up your own game and.
Yeah, but I feel like 8's a lot. Where that's the same amount that I want to say 5th edition has. Where 5th edition's been out for about 7 years or so. And
dude, don't say that. I feel old.
And no, you're older than me.
Oh,
and
no.
Paizo's been out for about a little over a year and a half. Starfinder, no, Paizo's new.
That's pronounced Paizo?
No, it's pronounced Pizzo. But Starfinder...
mine was Pizzo, I'm sorry.
Yeah, how dare you.
Paizo? Is it Paizo?
It's Pizzazo.
Yeah.
However you say it, you guys are jerks. Please give me money.
Piazio.
Okay, what do you guys, Craig? What do you think? Is that a lot?
I think it's definitely a lot. I think the biggest problem with it is they're adding a lot of content that kind of is game changing. Like the gear, having all the supplemental Armory books or the Alien Archives. There's a lot of stuff in there that kind of changes the game quite a bit. And so if someone doesn't have access to that, they may not be familiar with the whole thing. And so it kind of puts them at a disadvantage if they ever walk into a campaign that has it. But I think one of the things I liked was, the playtests. The playtests have been free, but what are the intentions with those characters later? Are those going to be an add-on? Or
They're
are those
probably going to be another $50 book add-on.
Yeah.
Where the $50, $40 books for, say, the Armory, if you do buy the hardcover, it's $40 for, again, that's just a big book of stat blocks. At least in a lot of the other books like that D&D, or even GURPS would come out with, it had a lot more imagery, where it's not just every 30 pages in here, there's one double-sided page of a list of guns. In the Monster Manual or the DMG, there was a really pretty illustration of whatever item, a description about how it came into the world and all that stuff, and then the stat block. This is stat blocks.
Well, in the Armory, it's in there. They do have a thing of saying, oh, here's this weapon, and here's some stuff about this. This gun, it shoots, it's made from bones and gristle and necromancy energy. It's popular on EOX because that's what they do. There aren't a lot of images, which I kind of wish they did have more of, because these are sci-fi weapons. You wouldn't know what Grobulok's blaster is going to look like. Like, for a sword, everyone knows what a sword is. A mace, it's just a metal club. But yeah, some of the other weapons in there, I agree with you. I'd like more stuff. I did like the armory, though. There's a good amount of stuff in there. There's some good items. I like what's in there. Some of the things I don't like is, like with the Alien Archive, it's super, super thin. Like, I was reading through it, and it's like, wow, that's not a lot of monsters.
Also with that, with the armory, you did say you like the armory. Is the armory really a $40 book, though?
I don't know. I mean, there could have been a little more stuff in there.
That's $20 less than the core rulebook, and the core rulebook is basically the entire game.
Yeah, and
Take
also
that into consideration.
But the core book also has that feature where the spine explodes.
Yes, there is also that.
That feature.
We are also talking hardcover.
Yeah, hardcover. PDF, yeah, it's $10 for the PDF.
Doesn't come with exploding spines, though.
Yeah, that's true. But also with the $10 PDF, it's great because it's more cost effective. But it's still... Is that a $10?
It's also searchable, which is nice.
Yeah, that is a really good point about it. PDFs, I would say that physical version of that's probably a $10, $15 book.
Yeah. I think the pricing is definitely a little out of skew. And part of it, I think, and this is something I've mentioned before in other conversations, that part of it is the artwork. I mean, every time you create a piece of art, you're having to pay an artist. And that's going to drive up the cost of the actual material by the time you get to printing. Is just a business perspective. So it's kind of hard to determine when artwork is necessary and when it's going to start affecting costs. And that's, I think, something that Paizo needs to work out a little bit better. Either they need to staff their own artists or, create a different pay scale to get that art into the book to make it more appealing and to make it more worth it when the purchase actually happens. Or they just need to be comfortable enough to say, these are the stat blocks and we're going to make this a little bit more text heavy and drive down the cost at the same time.
Because there definitely are a lot of books that do have, again, going back to D&D just because D&D's the big mom of this, but also I feel like D&D does pull off a few things a bit easier. It does have a lot of nice artwork in there. Yeah. And it has artwork for every creature that they have in there.
Yeah.
And then it also has just general artwork, like of a bunch of goblins being set on fire, or like that little image of like all the little people in that one regular guy in the line for like that henchman thing. A lot of cheap pictures of that as well. So D&D does it a lot better, but I feel like Paizo's trying to McDonald's this with Starfinder. Starfinder's a great game. We play it. I'm assuming we all like it.
No, I hate it forever.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, listen, Paizo, besides the spells being at the best of times...
Do you feel like we need more items or more spell options?
Honestly, because... we shouldn't take away... I would like more spells. Like, it would have been super cool if in the Armory book it said, also, here's some more spells, like how in Xanathar's Guide... there's like, also, here's some more spells. That would have been cool, because I feel like the spells were really lackluster. I mean, again, you can chalk it up to whatever you want. I mean, on one hand, I like where they were going. They just could have done more. Like how there's things like, oh, well, there's a spell so you can breathe in space, like Life Bubble, or cure radiation, or cause radiation. You just want to...
You can make a Hulk?
More like just like a guy with cancer.
No, it's like a me. Well, like, 2006 me. But anyway, one thing that I feel like that could have been done better with the playtest thing was they had a real opportunity to make an actual spellcaster with the Witch Warper, but they didn't, and I feel like that's really something that they should probably lean more towards, was the Mystic and Technomancer. The Technomancer, it makes sense for the campaign setting of it, but I feel like they were trying to make a spellcaster with the Mystic, but they just fell short.
Yeah, like, I get where they're going. They're trying to make it really broad and adaptable, so no two Mystics are going to be the same, but it's something you got to kind of chop it up a little bit, like how they're throwing in the Xeno-Druid, the Cleric, the Mind Control guy, this Star Child, or basically you're just like, oh, I'm flying around space. They threw all that together. They could have just chopped some of it up and said, these are Druid spells, and, if they would have sectioned it off more.
I feel like the character not the character creation, but like when it comes down to like when we're looking at the characters, some are definitely created a little bit more equal than others.
Yeah.
Because, like, the Biohacker was actually a really easy read. It was really easy to understand. But then when you got into the Witch Warper, and especially, like, the Vanguard, man, the Vanguard was a dirty print. Man, I mean, that was rough to, like, try and, like, look at the character and go, I don't understand what the hell is going on.
Yeah, not to retread all the ground, because I know we screamed about it last time, but they got way too heavy up their own butts about how they're trying to make it seem way cool. And it's like, oh, they control reality, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but just this guy with an assault rifle is going to kick your ass. So
we got a little bit more into, like, our own lanes, but man, once I read up all the stuff you guys had done. My God.
No, I agree with you.
I did not envy you.
No, Vanguard was...
There's a reason why you ended up with that one.
There's two things that I feel like that just never actually get done in tabletop role-playing games, for a lot of them at least. One is just, like, unless you're playing Mutants and Masterminds or something on the champion system, which is like a physical bruiser type who doesn't use, like, weapons, who just is able to, like, the big, beefy Superman-like or Hulk-like character.
A BFI?
Yeah. And the other is an arcane caster who's just all about, like, you know, like an arcane caster who's just about being an arcane caster. They don't split off to being divination or evocation wizard. They're just about getting more spell slots or being able to do more with their magic. 5th edition's sorcerer had a chance to do that, but then they gave us wild mage and it kind of pooped to bed.
I mean, I kind of like some of the sorcerer things I have where it's not just, oh, you got dragon blood in you, or you grew up next to a magic Chernobyl.
Yeah, well, like, I like them. I do. I like, except for Wild Mage. I like them, but if magic is in your blood, there should just be one where it's just you are a font of magic instead of magic Chernobyl or dragon blood or everything has a shadow aspect to it.
Yeah.
You know, things like that.
Yeah, the aspects is kind of a weird thing to kind of stumble into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. But that's sort of how I feel about the Starfire, like Paizo so far. They come out with way too many books, and a lot of them, that's not a $40 book.
Yeah, they could combine some of their books. Like, if they Alien Archive and Alien Archive 2, if they would have slurped those together, I'd be fine with that. But from what I saw in there, like I said, I was perusing for it before, trying to look at some monsters, just because see kind of what's out there. It's not...
To that point, would you rather see an update to the core rulebook only?
They did actually do an update to the core rulebook,
yeah.
But what happened was a lot of the stuff in Starship Combat, like a lot of the DCs and whatnot, it's wrong. So you're either going to have to, like, it's wrong in the book itself, which is updated on the Paizo website, and I think they might be saying, just buy the errata CRB that's coming out, the second print of it. Sure, you still get the same spine exploding action, but you'll be able to get our screw-up that we fixed in there.
Well, so when you purchase the actual physical book, do you get the PDF free?
No.
Oh, so it's a separate purchase.
Yeah.
See, I feel like that model is maybe also something they have an opportunity as to, you know, if you have a proof of purchase, you have some way to redeem that online. Maybe it's something an insert in the actual book, and then you basically redeem that one time, and it's a PDF version of the book. So that way, if there are any updates, your book isn't immediately nullified.
Yeah.
But I feel like that also may be something where, like, look, you've paid $60 for the book. If it ever gets updated, you get the update.
Or if your spine
not physical copy, but at least the digital copy of any updates.
Huh?
Did you want to get on this, or?
Yeah, I was just waiting for you guys to take a breath.
Yeah.
But anyway, so how I look at the books, like how they're releasing the books, is, well, to actually kind of compare it to D&D. D&D does do it a little bit better. Like what it looks, so like what Paizo is doing is like pushing out little small books, little small updates. When I think pushing out one larger book, working harder on a bigger, larger book, which you could almost, like, even if you look at it as almost like a gaming standpoint of like how a game will release either little patches or larger patches.
Mm-hmm.
I think that releasing like a larger book almost like another edition in addition to the player's handbook would be a lot better idea. Because I mean, for one, like, I mean, when you're playing through like an RPG, like most people aren't going to be centering in on one campaign. Like you're going to be playing multiple campaigns. You could be playing even multiple games. So like if you are taking even a break from Starfinder, and by the time you come back to it, there's been like 4 or 5 little rule books that have come out. I mean, that's a little discouraging. Like if you have to find and read all 4, if you have to purchase all 4 at, I don't know, $40 a
Store
pop.
all 4.
Yeah.
Like it's better to, like, if you come back to the game and you're like, oh, there's just one larger book, I can just pick it up and catch up from there. So even like a learning curve kind of thing. Like it's a little more discouraging to go, oh, there's so many that came out, I'll have to catch up on all of this, and it makes you not even want to come back to it. But if you have one big one, even when that one big one is released, that could even bring more people back to the game because people are like, oh, here's a big new update for Starfinder that I can jump in on right now.
Would you be more inclined to want to purchase something where it's like a condensed or not a condensed, a combination of several books?
I would definitely.
So like instead of paying,
so
like,
they could even take those little ones in every like quarter. I mean, how businesses are even broken up is by the 4 quarters of the year. So they could, during one of the quarters, they could combine everything that came out in that quarter
facilitate
into a
a discount.
book. Yeah. I would definitely purchase that.
Especially
well over individual books.
Especially if we're talking like Armory and Alien Archive stuff, like where that really isn't going to change going forward. It's just an addendum.
Yeah.
Maybe something where it's like a bigger book that, like, it made more sense for them to put this all together in like one small book when they released it.
Yeah.
But like once it gets down the road, stop printing these versions. Do one bigger one, sell it at a smaller price, and then allow the players to buy it a little easier if they're entering later, you know.
Yeah.
So they're not like, oh, shit, we'll have to buy 4 things. It's like, well, no, they don't sell them individually anymore. Now they just do this one big one that has all of those included.
Yeah, and even seeing the big one in the store released, like, I mean, that could make you just want to pick up Starfinder again and even start a new campaign, pick up your last one that you're on. Like, I think it is like a business. Well, it's a little weird saying as a business standpoint, but like, it's just more realistic. Like, like well, even as a player, dirty. Like
that's what it is. It's dirty. Another dirty thing that they do is they'll do things like they'll put polymorph in the Alien Archive 1. Well, that should have been a spell in the CRB. They knew it was should have been a spell in there. But then what they'll also do is they'll put like they're adding mounts, like they're adding little rules that should have been in the game, and they're tucking
one
it.
Big one with big rules.
Yeah, they should have done
to the game.
They should have done like a rules and campaign setting book into it. Honestly, if it would have cost even $50, like more than this would have cost, I would have still rather paid for that. Combining all the rules, but what they're doing is they're putting 1 or 2 rules that should have already been in a CRB or an earlier book into the Alien Archive 1 and 2, and then also now coming up 3, so that they're spacing out even the rules that should be in the game and saying, well, maybe if you buy this other book, you can get it.
You'll get,
See, that's discouraging.
Yeah, it's kind of like dirty.
That's the learning curve, even.
Yeah, it's like going to a restaurant and having to order, you know, instead of like, you know, D&D where you get like, it's like you with your player's handbook, you're getting your whole meal there. It'd be like if you went to, I don't know, Texas Roadhouse and they said, it's like, all right, well, here's, I want this, like, all right, well, that'll be, like, all, like, half of your entrees are missing. It's like, well, corn, that's the corn extra. And then you'll have to buy and then you'll have to buy the...
And then the friend that you're sitting next to, he's like, you know, I read a couple months ago in my book that you can have a side of steak fries.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what? I didn't know about that. And he's like, well, I bought the $40
you didn't know about steak fries rules?
That told me about steak fries.
It's like,
I guess it's for that analogy. But yeah, it seems like they're cutting up something that should have, you know, things that should be together, and they're trying to like space it out just so it's like, ooh, did we release a new book that's crucial to your class like Xenodruid? I mean, I've never played it because...
Well, Xenodruid, you're thinking they would have polymorph rules in there, and you knew darn well they should have had polymorph rules in there because it says Xenodruid in the name. but they don't. Instead, buy this other book. Oh, the $40 book's too much for you? The $40 monster stat block is too much for you? Well, you can get the PDF for $10.99.
Yeah, because with the
And
whole
also
thing,
get
like,
an Amazon Kindle.
like I mean, one can make the argument that being able to turn into an animal is because you're a druid is a D&D thing, but I think it's become so entrenched in like nerd shenanigans. Is that like even look at World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
If you're a druid,
That's an
World of
RPG,
Warcraft, like anything when you're a druid, like anytime anyone's a druid now or has nature magic,
shapeshift.
they're shapeshifters too.
Yeah.
So that's one
Or at
thing
least
that's
optionally have the option.
yeah, that's one of the greasy things. See, I didn't even know that they're splitting up rules.
And they're also doing the same thing. It's not as much with mounts that's coming out in the Alien Archive 3, but it's still in that vein of doing a greasy thing with the rule that you knew that probably should have been in CRB, but he didn't put it in there because you want somebody to buy this extra book. It makes sense as a business to do it, but it's still a gross thing to do.
Right. We don't know the company's intent, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it can definitely be interpreted that way, I think is the point. And that's, unfortunately, the way it affects your audience, and your audience perceives that, and that's going to affect your bottom line by the end. And so Paizo, it's a bad business move. Don't do that.
And I like Starfinder. I really do. I would put it right up there
No,
with
it's
D&D.
it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
It's super fun, right? But it's still, that's what makes it so much worse, is that I'm probably going to buy these books, and I hate that I'm going to buy these books.
Because there's.
But why piss off the audience that direction? Sorry, to that point. Why put your audience at risk of like not appreciating the game because of your business decision? Why not try and make it more an enjoyable experience and try to get other people into it? I just feel like you're doing yourself a disservice by the end of that.
Nah, I feel like they know that either there's going to be people who buy it, or they know that they have all their other games they can fall back on, like Pathfinder and things like that, where it doesn't really hurt them too much, but it is still kind of a
greasy thing, yeah. But also, like, because I know, like, D&D and stuff, they'll do things like, someone could be like, what about downtime activities? That was all another book. But it made sense because they have all these things. They sort of put them in books that make sense. Like, I'm going to go back to Polymorph, but going back to Polymorph in an Alien Archive, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. If they did something where they had, like, a Game Master core rulebook where they put different things in there, like, here's how mounted combat works, here's how, basically another rule book, that would make sense because they're organizing it super weird. I don't know. That's,
even from like an organization standpoint,
yeah,
you'll have to dig through your dozen Starfinder books to find one rule when you could grab your one.
No, if you can't afford it, just buy the PDF. It's like $30 cheaper.
I mean,
what if you don't have an Amazon Kindle, or what if you don't have like some sort of tablet or anything like that? Yeah, just
I think
that's how. Well, you don't have phones.
Do you not have
That's
phones?
exactly the answer to your next question. Do you not have phones?
Bravo! Because I literally was like, well, I mean, pretty much every smartphone has the ability to open up a PDF now. Then you're like, do you not have any phones? Holy
But then
shit.
that just gives.
I mean, holy crap.
Yeah.
Flippin' heck.
But so I feel like we've all screamed about this as much as we feel like
Yeah,
we should.
Paizo, you
We're
need
beating
to
a dead
stop being a
horse.
rascal.
We're asking you very nicely.
Please.
So forgot.
Send us all your core rule
What else
books
we
and
got?
all the other things. I mean,
For free.
sponsored down
And we'll
below.
we'll stop calling you greasy. Just give us a bunch of stuff and money.
Yeah, give us a bunch of stuff and money, and then also pay for that surgery I want, that optional one.
so-
That way we can put ad at the bottom of this.
So then, I guess I'm almost thinking we might all have the same opinion on this next one, but do you guys prefer to have the physical book in front of you or your PDF?
Man, it's situational. I gotta say, I really missed not having the book in front of me when I was trying to create a character.
Mm-hmm.
But it was super helpful when I was not finding what I needed to in the book to like just look up the actual name of the thing that was in there and find every instance of it in the thing. So I would love to have both, and that's why I wanted the option of, if you're going to buy the core rule book, you should get the PDF for free. I mean, you're already paying $60 for this thing. Don't tell me I don't get a PDF with it, because every Amazon book I've bought from Amazon, I almost always get the PDF for free.
Yeah, I kind of agree. So I like having a physical book. This is how I am with comics too. I like having my physical book, and like like the digital download is also good too. Like including a digital download with the book, I think would be a good idea too. Even like with even if they go at like the standpoint of like you're gonna have the physical book and you can give the digital download to a friend,
or at least a discount,
and that like expand your player base that way.
I think every publisher should be using this method as a motive to like say, hey, you know what, we're printing the book, we're making an extra cost, pay for that extra cost, but you know what, anyone who wants to buy this gets this PDF if they want to buy it.
And the search function in the PDF is
that would be nice, but rarely are companies out there to be nice. These guys, they want to keep.
No, I'm not saying it was nice. I'm saying it's a good business move.
They wanted to keep up with their sales numbers with D&D, and they are keeping right up there. There's plenty of other tabletop role-playing games on the market, and these guys are the Pepsi Cola to their Coke for a reason. They know what they're doing. We just don't. I just don't like it, but we know what they're doing.
Yeah.
On your question though, I would rather have the PDFs for a couple reasons. I DM games more than I play in them, and just out of being cost effective, the PDFs, it's just less money that I'll have to spend. It's all in one place, and if I ever say, like again, my spine is not going to explode.
Your spine is blown out.
Yeah, my spine's not going to blow out on my Kindle Fire, and if it does, I have the warranty on it.
Miracle.
There's because you never see
you can always just re-download the fresh PDF. You can't just re-buy the book.
Yeah, exactly. I can always re-download. I can have it on my computer, on my phone, things like that. It's more, transportable. Search function is also nice, and again, it's $30 less.
Yeah.
Paizo also does a subscription thing, which again, another greasy move. But if you do pay for their subscription, which
how much
I don't,
is it, by the way?
Does it? I don't know. But
it kind of matters to me because if we're talking $30 a month, forget that. But if it's like $30 for the entire year and there is 4 or 5 releases, maybe the cost efficiency is there for me to justify it. But it's got to be everything Paizo. It can't just be Starfinder. It's got to be like the whole access.
If you guys want to stay on this topic for a while, I can look it up just to see how much it would be.
No, I think that's kind of like.
But so even that
kind of illustrates the whole point.
There's an ongoing subscription to having a book, and it does give you all the other games. Like it does give you all the other books to Starfinder.
Yeah.
But that still seems like they're squeezing every penny that they can out of somebody instead of just relying on coming up with something quality. They're just shotgunning people.
Yeah. One quick thing I wanted to add. One positive about a physical book is if you're buying a physical book, you can buy it from your local game store and actually support them.
Yeah, like Haster Games on State Street. Go there or I'll break your kneecaps.
But no, like it is legitimately supporting your local store.
No, yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
And then if you do your digital download, you're buying it straight from Paizo.
Yeah, which I get. That is why I do buy that is why I bought the core rulebook from Haster Games instead of buying it online. Is because there's something to buy in the local. That feels nice, I'm a filthy hipster that way, I don't know. But then there's also buying miniatures, which I feel like it's kind of off topic for today, but Starfinder still doesn't have any. Starfinder's minis finally came out, and this guy finally got some.
Yeah.
Did they finally come out?
Yeah, Starship minis.
Yeah, like.
Oh, okay.
Exactly,
Yeah, there's 5 Starship minis, and then also there's 10 guys. But that's still better than them just never coming out with anything.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I like my little the Dead Zone things from Mantic Games,
Or
like little goblins and whatnot.
Or you could just throw all your money and just be like, no, Games Workshop, Warhammer 40K, take all my money.
Is that? I feel like that's still less. That's still more expensive than Hero Forging all your minutes.
Oh my. Hero Forge is cool, but it is expensive.
It's a treat, It's kind of like how you have a brownie at dinner, but you shouldn't live off brownies.
You gotta be dedicated to your character.
A chicken nugget once in a while is fine, but you shouldn't be like, chicken nuggets are my family. I like that one fact. He was like, chicken nuggets is my family. I love them.
Dude, I live on
He's
Tendies.
just shoveling chicken nuggets into his maw.
What are you talking about? I live on Tendies. I live with my mommy, and she gives me good points.
Oh no!
Yeah, I turned bad. I'm kidding, Mommy. I'm good. Give me good book points, or I'll shit on the neighbor's dog. But so yeah, going back to Starfighter.
So whatever happened to chicken fries?
I prefer.
Does Burger
the
King
physical
still have
copy.
chicken fries?
They do,
Well,
but they're
do.
not tendies.
So
And if they give you chicken fries to the tendies, you bash their skull open, and then you use their blood and viscera as tendy barbecue sauce.
You know what?
Okay, we can
tell
get
you.
back on topic.
So I get back on
We're a
topic.
gross boy
I,
channel now.
You know, I'm kind of on the fence. In some senses, I do like PDFs. I do like the physical books one because I just like the feel. I like kind of having them. There's like the little cachet get where it's like, ooh la la, I got this book.
It's cancer.
It is very
But
sexy.
then gets the chicks apparently. But then also because it's like, hey ladies, I read. And like, what do you read? And then you have to be like, Starfighter Core Rule Book. And that's either it's hit or miss. But
I guess they never miss, huh?
I'm gonna strangle you afterwards. But no, but also with the PDFs, I don't know if it's just the tablet I have where it's I don't know, it's always slow. But if I'm trying to like go like, especially in character creation, if I'm trying to go through somewhere, it feels like it takes a year and a day for it to load. Where with the book, if I want to go to a far part of the book, I just blurb. But then also on the other hand, it is useful for one thing I do just because of spells. I don't want to have to keep opening the rule book to look at the spells. One thing I do is I just copy paste most of the spells into like a Word document that I put into a list where it's like I have the quick description and the spell thing on my character sheet, but
I'm
then
gonna stick on Starfighter Rock because this one has Steam. Go on.
oh, okay. And where should I start?
Yeah, talk to us, you dick.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to me. I'm
Yeah,
right
you were
here. I'm a real
waiting
person.
for him to load. And
Yeah, because I don't like
Writing down
waiting
your
for it to load, but then also I also kind of do like how I can copy paste from the digital copy to it, because like when I'm doing spells.
which is like, again, Paizo, please give us both. Give us a digital download for a physical
Yeah.
book. Because, like, yeah, I can definitely see that in some circumstances you're going to want the physical, and other you're going to want the digital. Like,
I feel hard.
both. Like,
I feel hard demanding free stuff, but it would be nice
I
to
know.
just be able to, if you buy the book,
add it
be
for
able
$5.
yeah, or just be able to get a discount for if you scan your barcode onto your Paizo account, it links that book only to your Paizo account, and you get $5 off the PDF or $2 off the PDF.
That's what I said, like having it just code blocked, where it's like there's a code in the actual physical book that you redeem on the site.
Yeah.
It says, hey, I own this book.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
then if your spine does explode,
That protects them in some degree of, like piracy, if you will, but they have already some protections to their PDFs. I mean, it's just basically the same thing. It just just attach it to your book. Don't attach it to a separate purchase. I mean, or I should say, don't force it on a separate purchase.
one thing that would be nice that still hasn't come out with at Starfinder yet is Paizo too, is that there's no apps yet for Starfinder, which is weird, like how D&D has the spellbook app, character sheet apps, all that stuff, but there's nothing really, there's no Starfinder character sheet app or anything yet, and it's been out for a year and some change.
do they have
Nerds
spell
get on it.
cards?
Nope.
No spell cards?
No spell cards, I think. That's, again, what's really spellcasters.
I know
Yeah.
we're going to get into this with a different video, but I was very impressed with Roll20's character sheet generator.
Oh, yeah, it was nice, right? It's a lot
It
better than I
was-
thought it was going to be.
It was a lot
Yeah,
more
it is.
robust than other tools I was trying to use online. for
Like
sure.
Fantasy Grounds and all that? Or
No, I got one that explained kind of the character creation, and so it had a kind of a worksheet. So I was working off of that, but even that had some gaps where the Roll20 kind of filled in those and provided better numbers, like what should be more accurate numbers, I should say. And so I was just like, well, as much as I'm looking at this character sheet, it doesn't explain everything,
Yeah.
and it was nice to have to not consult those things and just punch in the numbers and call it good.
what do you guys think? Do you think that we're making a big deal out of this, or do you think Paizo is coming out with too many books? Let us know down there. Scream about it. Maybe insult this guy for being an Italian.
Tell
Who
us
knows?
it's stupid, or tell us that you agree. I don't know.
Yeah.
insult my hair.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But just let us know what you guys think of just how many books Paizo is coming out with, and then also if you think it's better to have the PDFs, which you only have to really buy them once. You're probably going to be able to back it up multiple devices. You can carry it with you. There's that search function. Or are you a bunch of filthy vinyl-loving hipsters where that book just having the feel of having a book with you?
Just like to smell it, touch it.
I'm kidding.
More authentic.
And I like to.
Let's
I like
be honest.
to
If
spill
you're a
my
hipster,
tab on it.
You're taking it into the Starbucks so that everyone can see that you have it.
No.
And you're never actually using
Here's
it.
the, if you're a hipster, what you're doing, you're playing D&D first. You're playing D&D first edition, not even advanced D&D. You're playing it Beans and Brew because Starbucks. No, you're playing it Greenhouse because Starbucks is too mainstream.
Too corporate.
You've homebrewed 3 D&D 3 to be Starfinder.
And all humans are extinct. You're only playing with elves and Dragonborn. Those are your humans and dwarves.
It's true.
And that's your hipster. But let's go. Like one thing that does sort of benefit PDF users, people like the PDFs more, would be it's better on sites like Roll20. Where it's easier to copy and paste the rules. I'm against piracy. I don't care. I like Somali piracy because them kids don't have futures. But it's easier to share those rules. The Roll20 the Roll20 rule books and that they do have them all on there, which is nice. And you don't have to put on pants when you go out and try to play. You can just play at the comfort of home or the library. Your parents' house if you don't want people to track your IP address and know where you live.
Make sure
that.
Make sure if you're playing at the library, you are playing pants off because it's required.
Playing pants off?
At the library? Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially the downtown library.
Pants off, but hands off. You know.
Oh yeah, you can't be you can't be gross about it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't be weird.
Yeah.
Shit.
I got my lights. Don't worry. Our editing slave. She's gonna have to deal with all these curses, or she's just not gonna edit out the curses.
Yeah.
It's up to her.
Look, I apologize. I just want to formally apologize. This is a Christian Minecraft server.
Well, flippin' heck. Sorry, Susan.
What?
Oh, you've been offending Susan?
So you know what? I mean, I don't know. I think we've talked this subject to death.
we know we're talking.
I apologize.
Yeah, we're done.
But we should probably change topic.
I'm into it.
We do have some other things we want.
I mean, we could move straight from. Do you like your physical book or your digital book to? Do you like your physical games at a table or your Roll20 game?
That's a good question. What do you like more, Roll20 or at the table? Like if you had to either be one or the other. Say we're playing our Star Friend game that we play here on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. Which would you do? Like, which would you prefer?
Like, okay. There's a couple factors that go into that. I'm sorry, I'm going to take a little second in this.
No, I like it.
But when you have friends that you hang out with like this, and you have a day that you can do, this is super convenient and super nice, and it's way more fun to play in a room. But there's a niche market for Roll20, and that is like I do a lot of gaming online, and so I have a lot of online gaming friends. And it's really fun to be able to sit down and do something with them that's more, tabletop related, rather than having to, play like Diablo or something like that, where it doesn't really kind of have the same
social aspect,
imaginative process, or character creation process, or whatever. So I really do like the online play. Though if I ever have the opportunity to hang out with people in real life, it definitely is way more fun to play on tabletop.
I feel it's sort of the same with video games. Like if I had the option to play video games at my friend's house while we play online, I would much rather prefer that than play on Xbox Live, an Xbox Live party with them, and then play on the internet. I would, but it's not as it's just not as
convenient.
It's just not as convenient anymore.
It's like a LAN party. You remember Halo 2, Halo 3
Those
LAN parties?
Whatever happened to split screen games?
Listen, this would happen to split screen games.
Screen peekers.
No,
that's what happened.
No, not even that. 343 got their filthy fucking paws on the. Yeah, I don't care. Listen, she doesn't matter.
I think you filthy flippin' heckin' paws.
Got their filthy, flippin' heckin' gosh darn mother juicing paws on Halo, and then what they decided to do was take out split screen, and then every other game, because Halo's like the big Mamu of video games, every other game followed suit.
I think you mean they turned it into Call of Duty.
Yes, well, even Call of Duty had split screen.
Heck, Halo.
Yes, 343. You took a big dump on Halo, and now every other game is just reeling from that big dump. That's why everything sucks now. That's why Battlefield sucks. It's because of you, 343. And now what's Bungie working on? Destiny. Destiny sucks. It's you. You did this to 343. You did this to me. But let's.
Yeah, 343. You're a real Florida rascal.
PC Master Race.
I actually really got really mad.
Yeah, there's like vitriol. You started using your Mad Boy voice.
I'm a little nervous now.
I don't like. Listen,
You want a full-on erection?
I don't like
Wait,
343
Look, I'm not gonna
Studios.
say I don't have a raging bull.
Oh yeah, playing in person or playing.
Yeah.
The thing about playing in, I wish that Roll20 and other online services that play those games, I wish they were more mainstream because they are really fun. All the tools are really there and accessible. They're great, but there's this feeling to playing in person that's just there. And if there was some sort of marketing campaign or something that could happen with Roll20. Where they could help people bridge that gap or at least get over that feeling, it would be a lot better.
You've got local game stores, like lots of local game stores, like advertise. This is our D&D night. Come and join a new group. This is our Starfinder.
There's no Roll20
night.
night, which I feel like that would really benefit them a lot if they did sort of advertise on Reddit or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, it's D&D night with Roll20. Come on, we have this special guest host, running a game, and then that would get more people to want to.
Yeah, like if Roll20 is like an Adventures League or something where I don't know if they have because that sort of defeats the whole purpose of Roll20 in my opinion, where it's like, come on down to this place, we're all going to Roll20.
If there was a community, if there was like an actual community day for Roll20, but go on.
So one thing I wanted to mention about Roll20, so you there are lots of games. There's search feature is actually pretty good for finding a game.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. But I have one complaint about it. So talking about them posting, oh, we're gonna have this DM come and DM a game. So what I've noticed is they do have those big games with big DMs on there, but they are paid games.
Oh, that sucks.
So you you pay the DM per session, which I mean isn't terrible, but you gotta pay your DM $20 on PayPal each session to enter game with this big DM.
That feels.
I mean, if it was like a charity event or something where it's like, hey,
no, it is supporting the DM, like it's supporting them.
No, it feels like a charity event, like March of Dimes or something.
Yeah, or like next time Mother Earth decides to mess up a certain area, be like, hey.
But if you want to get into a professional game, you got to pay for it. But if you want a little plebeian, okay, that's a stupid.
I got an idea,
but
you know what? I gotta say, Twitch is owning the market on this platform because people are using Roll20 to Twitch stream, right? And then you can donate to the people that are playing. Critical Role is a really big event every Thursday night with their game, and at the same time, Roll20 could be doing that. They could offer spectating, and you could watch games like that. And if you want to have some sort of menial entry fee for a group that plays.
DMs, dude.
What?
I don't like paying for your DM. It feels gross.
No, I'm talking about the whole group. And I'm saying, if you're going to host something on Roll20, you could do the whole hosting on Roll20, but then people can watch and people can choose to pay to watch or not, and you just have the game, and the game itself is promotional. But I'm just saying, Roll20 could look at that as a market to try and soak up, because right now they're losing business in some ways.
On a business standpoint, they are losing money. That really would benefit them to have something like that to compete with Twitch's thing, because it's pretty obvious that Roll20 is there for tabletop role playing people.
You can do video right into Roll20.
Yeah.
So the people playing can video stream right in. Voice can be heard through it. the maps, all that stuff is right there. The only thing they would have to add is a chat pane.
No, yeah, Roll20 is great. Like, it's a great program. It really would be great for them to be able to have some sort of event because it's super convenient. The only issue that I have with with having these celebrity games where you pay even to watch or especially to play, it's kind of like
I would spectate
it's
it.
kind of like, and they could get money on ads.
Yeah.
It's kind of like paying for friends. You know what I mean?
Well, the reason I was bringing in a paid feature would be a way to support your local store, because then it would be like, the store knows who comes in and plays in their store and who's good at DMing. They could be, kind of giving them an option, an avenue to get some promotion for their store, for one, and then also get the person that's participating in that way a little bit of revenue for themselves for participating in that advertising. They'd be looking for people to do something that way,
So
and it would give some sort of revenue stream to kind of back that. I think we would see a lot more people stepping up to DM in a good way.
That's one thing about that.
That's what I was trying to point
A lot of these games, they don't, like a lot of Roll20 stuff, or even like the Discord server that we have on our channel where we do invite whoever wants to join can come ahead and I DM games, the other guy DMs games, things like that. But for every 40 people who want to actually play D&D, there's probably 5 DMs. Screws and fractions to get that down. No, for every 40 people who want to play, who want to be a PC, 5 of them will DM, and then you don't have any DMs, and then that's why there's not a lot of games that are really ongoing. That's probably why Roll20 is not as. That's probably why paid DMs are a thing, because nobody wants to actually DM a game. Which DMing is fun. Give it a chance.
Yeah.
If you don't, really, DMing is super fun. You get to make a whole world. That 3-page long headcanon you're given to your DMs every time you make a new character, that can be what an entire session's about. By God, don't, because nobody likes that, but give DMing a try. Yeah. That character Bible can easily be a campaign story arc. Please give DMing a try.
Yeah, I just think there's probably a healthy way that can be done without it being so gross. Like the $20 thing just to play the game, I think that's gross.
Yeah.
But having the option for spectators who want to watch and enjoy but not actively participate in,
If they had a
That's
lot
the
of,
role
if
of
they had a
advertisers,
bunch
I
of
really
stuff,
But
I agree. But at the same time, if that's a voluntary, I feel that that's a voluntary transaction.
I do think that what we all agree on here, probably except for you because you're a dirty contrarian, is that
Dirty what? No, I'm just
contrarian.
kidding.
It would be nice to have some sort of watching or streaming feature on Roll20 for people who just want to watch. That is something that would really put them in serious
I would
competition.
totally watch that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would seriously put them in serious competition against Twitch. Because there's more games going on there. You probably got a better stock at DM just because if you know about Roll20, you're
And
probably...
people who want to watch D&D are already on the right
It
platform.
would,
There
it
you
would
go.
actually
Yeah.
be smarter for them to host it on Twitch, because they're not going to beat Twitch.
They would be,
Like-
that's how competition starts. So you have Roll20 is a much better online playing system than Twitch
Yeah.
is for hosting that game. So if they come up with their own thing, that's sort of like
streaming goes, hosting it on Twitch
Yeah,
would be
'cause-
much better.
Well,
that's-
that doesn't remove the option to stream on Twitch, but you could have spectating in Roll20, and
Yeah.
then you're
The
double dipping in
spectating,
the
I would
then you're double
definitely-
dipping into the market,
Yeah.
and then at the same time, I don't want to get into the business end too
Yeah.
much because everyone has their own motivations, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying people who want to play D&D are already on Roll20.
Yeah. But if
So
there's a good-
you're just grabbing that market share
Mhm.
and saying, here's an option for you
Yeah.
to watch games, to do what you want to do. I mean, sometimes you kind of want to find out what players are about. So there's also a factor of reputation, Lance is a great DM. I played multiple games with him. He's a great player. He's very knowledgeable. If I wanted to see what Lance was about and go watch previous games that he's participated in and go look at that, I would reach out to him and try and recruit maybe and try and build a really strong, cool group to play with. And that would be kind of an easy way to find out if the player's going to mesh well with yours. Whereas I know that there's a toxic situation you guys have had with Roll20. I don't want to get into the specifics.
No, I do. She was the worst.
No, we're not gonna get that.
I hate her so much.
Because I don't
want
want
to. Really mad at 343, and I don't know why.
But because I don't want to spend too much time on that part, I do want to say, like, if you had been able to see the types of groups she had played before, and maybe seen some of the feedback that would have been provided regarding that character, you probably would not have played with them.
Yeah, like an Uber style.
Even though it's a funny story.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like if there was a built-in Roll20 just straight spectate feature, I would totally watch.
Yeah, I would ghost watch
totally
people to find other players
that
too.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, also it's like one less thing to run, because it usually seems like when you're doing Roll20, you have to wrangle. It's like, okay, so here's the thing so we can all talk to each other. Here's things so we can all do this and that. It seems like there's a lot less pies you have to deal with.
Like, I don't know why people do it, but I only do it. Yeah, Katie owes me a pie. Two pies. Yeah, while we're talking about pie. Yeah. Katie, for watching this, you actually owe me 2 pies. And for the sake of that, Paizo.
I want a pie.
Yeah.
Paizo.
I mean, you don't owe me a pie.
But she owes you 2 Paizos.
Yes, 2 franchises. But so one thing that people kind of need for them to add on there would be some sort of, like, you know how Uber, you can both rate your driver, but then also your driver can rate you. Your DM can rate you, but you can also rate your DM.
Right.
That will be a really good way to see, okay, who's a good DM, who just wants to scream their headcanon at somebody. That would be good to have. Who's going to be that toxic vest player who ruins the game for other people, and then who's going to be somebody that, you know, is actually playing the game to have fun.
Yeah, maybe have something where it's like, here's your DM rating, here's your player rating, because there are some people who it's like, yeah, they're really good DMs and they're like, but they're terrible players, or vice versa. Yeah. So
they're rules lawyers,
you could get feedback about all kinds of stuff. Like, you know, Lance, you do some great voices, and you know, like, some of the best campaigns are when people are like acting characters, and so it's like you get feedback about some of the characters you play. Like, this one was really kind of a miss, but I really liked this one. I mean, the internet's kind of a place of trolls, but at the same time, there's some really good feedback in those too. You know, and it might help you figure out like what types of characters you play really well, and what types of ones work really well with campaigns. So. You know.
And on Roll20 on your profile, you do already have some of your stats that other people can view too.
What do you mean?
If you go to your profile or someone else's profile, you can view how many hours they've played on Roll20. I think you can see how many games they've participated in, and also like how many like different players they've played with. So I mean, they already have somewhat of a stat page. Like, why not expand it more?
You mentioned trolls. One thing, and it could be just on that same page, but you mentioned trolls. One thing that would be some sort of verification process for that, so you don't just get some jerk who's just like voting everybody down, would be you'd have to at least be in a game with them in order to be able to rank that person.
So like spectators couldn't rank.
Yeah, that makes sense for spectators not to rank, because again, there is that sort of thing where
there's trolls.
There's people who just are like really up their own bums
or
about
just maybe
how
have a
it
setting
should be.
Because I would like to have spectators like tell me if I had a funny voice or something like that. So like maybe you have a setting on there where it's like, we'll accept spectator commentary, or, you know, won't.
Spectator commentary is good, but I'm more talking about like being able to rank somebody as a DM or a player. That would have to be done if you were playing with somebody else.
Or maybe have something where it's like after X amount of time, you can rank someone, because it's something where, I don't know, let's say you meet someone, and maybe it's something where their character is just like they're playing their character well, or something like that, but their character just crap. Or I don't know, let's say you just had like a bad start or something like that. There's bad internet connections. I don't know. You're just like, I hate this GM. Like maybe something where it's like you have to play with them for 12 hours.
Ooh, that's harsh, because there's some players. No, that's a lot of time.
That could also be a thing where it's like, if you want to,
12 hours is like 6 sessions though.
Yeah, but
how many sessions did we get in with Sandwich Lady? One.
I think we're nitpicking the time frame, but I get what the concept is.
It's a good concept to have. Roll20, if you're listening, give me some money.
Yeah, this is our idea.
Only me. Only I get money, because
hire us to to like.
If you
consult
incorporate
your
this feature in the
website.
next year,
we'll
we'll know where you got it from.
We will
Egg your
consult you
house.
on your website and your features.
We know you watch
Hire
every one
us.
of our episodes.
Yeah. We'll have Nathaniel commit criminal mischief upon you.
Alright.
We're gonna internet bully you.
Yeah. Wait, no, those one black kids, they were like, hey, no more bullying, and then it was over. So actually, bullying doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, dude. No, moving on. Sorry,
True.
bullying's over. So let's talk about, I feel like this is a quick topic, but really just, it's bothered me because there's so many memes about it now, and I did run a short game on the Discord that I tell any of you guys about because I wanted to get better at Roll20. But how do you guys feel about crits on skill checks? I feel they're dumb. I hate them. Memes, you're hurting Dungeons and Dragons. Stop, or I'll hurt you.
Wait, so as in like if you are doing a check, like say like a are you talking about like
Like
if
an
you're doing
athletics
if you're
check.
doing like an athletics check and you roll your dice and if you happen to roll a 20 then it's an automatic
Yeah, it
are you
automatically
talking about automatic successes?
Yeah, so I was
Okay.
playing a game with somebody on our Discord. Links in the description about links, whatever, I don't care. But and somebody rolled a 20 on the little thing there. It was all that, and we're playing a game of it wasn't Starfinder. It was actually 3.5, not even 5th edition. And so they were like, okay, I want to sneak up behind this orc, and I want to stab him in the back, and I want to catch his body and drag him away before any of the other orcs could see. So I was like, okay, give me a combined check for for athletics, stealth, and then also give me a check for perception. Just be able to look around and see how well you're hiding and things like that.
Right.
He got a 20 on his stealth, a 15 on his athletics, and like something really like a 2 or something on the perception. And he took that natural 20 on. First he said, "Oh, it's a nat 20." He said a natty 20, which made me mad. But he said, "Yeah, I got a natty 20 on my stealth check, so therefore I not only kill him, but I also roll for a sneak attack to kill that other guy and that other guy." And that's not how it works. And it took like maybe.
That's not how any of this works.
It destroyed the game because it took 10 minutes of arguing with this kid, and he was one of those gawky, laughy kids that you run into sometimes. You know what I'm talking about, right? All those kids that every conversation with them is just chuckling. But yeah, so it took 10 minutes of that, completely derailed the game. You don't get naturals on skill checks. And that's why. 'Cause it's dumb.
Well, I like having the DM give everything like a DC save.
Mm-hmm.
So like the DM will determine, okay, so my player wants to do this. I'm going to make this a easy DC save. I don't know, it could be a 10 DC save, or we can do like if it's something way out of left field, make it a 30 DC save. Like, I mean, it's still kind of possible, but a little bit more. I don't agree that if you get a 20, anything can happen, because it could be a DC 100 save that your player's
Get
like,
that once one.
yeah, that your player's like, I want to shoot. We'll say Starfinder.
Oh boy.
I want to shoot my laser pistol in the air
At that spaceship.
at that spaceship to blow it up.
Oh, no.
And as a DM, you're like, why not? I'm gonna give my player
I'll let
the
him
chance to do this. I'm not gonna play my player character for the
Yeah.
player's character for them. Go ahead and roll your DC 100 save. Oh, you got a 7. All right. Sorry, you shoot it in the air. You hit a fucking bird.
Nope, got that natty 20, and now the ship
Instead
destroyed.
of-
I got a 20. Boo-boo! Death Star destroyed. No, I don't like
Isn't
that.
that actually the end of New Hope, though?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he did roll like basically.
There was way more that went into that. Okay? That's
Listen,
why I love
the Death Star was an inside job.
That's exactly why Rogue One was.
Still had to make the shot.
Okay, it's arguable that Rogue
Yeah.
One was probably the best of the newer Star Wars movies.
I loved Rogue One.
Out of episodes
Although,
7 and 8
what bothered me the most,
and
okay,
Solo.
they're in a base
Yeah.
with all these starships in it, and they have time to walk down to the beach. Why the hell did they not get in a starship and just leave?
It would have been too. Okay, it would have been.
They
too
walked
visible.
from the top of the tower to the bottom, all the way out of the base to the beach to get exploded.
Why?
She could have gotten in a ship, stabilized his shit, and left.
Okay, I'll answer that with another question. Why didn't Frodo get on one of those eagles to just drop the One Ring into Mount
No,
Doom?
that's agreed. Agreed.
Because the Eye of Sauron would have shot it out of his
Because the ring would have corrupted the eagles.
Well, no, he was still holding the thing. Frodo was being held a bunch of times, but so yeah. But so
They didn't even need to leave the planet, by the way. They
Frodo's
could have
got
just
ugly,
gone
hairy feet.
And
to the
so
other side of the
they were-
planet,
they
and
were
then
on-
once the shield was down, leave.
They were on basically a giant imperial world-sized warehouse where ships were being constantly shot down left and right. It was too much of a target to be able to shoot that ship out of the air. There was a massive armada of ships being shot out that assault team on the top, on the outside of Scarif. That's what the planet was, Scarif,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And then there was the ground teams that were also being shot down. There were AT-ATs everywhere, planet-mounted guns everywhere.
They still
was just
made
too
it
visible
down
of a
to the
target.
beach. So that
Okay.
means there was no one in their way by the time they got to the bottom, because there was no way they fought their way out. So
Yeah, true.
What if all the other ships are taken?
But then they got
that's the only explanation, but I'm just saying, I find it hard to believe because that place was rife with spaceships.
You know how it's super easy. You know how it's super easy for me to be able to shoot, I don't know, a target even 20 yards away with my 22, but I can't, or with my little 45. But I can't shoot a target. But I can't shoot a fly that's 10 feet away from me. There's just different scales of munitions and whatnot are used to hit different targets. And Scarif's defense systems were better suited for planetary protection and whatnot than it was to deal with people running while there was already that assault on Scarif going on. There was a lot of ground stuff already going on, and to shoot at that while trying to maintain your footholds and whatnot is a lot
I don't
harder.
understand your point against what I'm talking about.
Okay,
but that's fine.
Okay, so let me just make sure here. You're asking me, or are you asking me, I should ask, why they didn't just take the ship and fly away rather than them going down and running away?
No, so they didn't run.
Okay.
So the problem I have is instead of trying to escape
Okay.
or just attempting to get anywhere but where they were, they instead went down to the bottom of the base, walked through whatever type of city this basically you had surrounding it, got all the way down to the beach, and then died.
That's actually was something
that was the problem.
The only one of the defenses I have for that was there were probably all the ships were done for because their assault at that point.
All they had to do was spend 30 seconds to address that in the film. Then
does everything really need to be explained though?
In that scenario, yes.
All right, if everything needs to be explained, then okay.
Just for that scenario,
Okay.
because I feel like they had shown that this place was full of ships. There was nothing going out. That was the thing. There was no planetary travel going out because there was a battle going on. So none of these ships have left.
But the
assumedly.
planet was locked down, though.
Exactly, but the shields were dropped before the shot was taken.
I feel like it would have been too hard to get a ship because again, but okay.
The shield was dropped when they were already on the tower still, so they knew the shields were down because they were the ones that got the shields down.
But there would have had somebody to come down and then stop for a while and then come back up and leave. That might have been too risky for just people,
Well, I'm not talking about something coming down to pick them up.
Or even just
I'm talking about them stealing a ship and leaving.
All of it, it seems like most.
And they didn't even have to leave. They could have stayed in atmosphere and just gone to the other side of the planet, which any spaceship would have been able to do. And once the shields were down, they could have just left on the opposite side of the
Were there any
world.
active ships there though?
Well, because everyone was escaping and from them doing all their shenanigans. I'm guessing they would have already
well, that's
followed
the
their
one thing.
imperial standard escape plans.
Grand Moff Tarkin ordered the shot before he gave any order to evacuate.
Well, I think
there was no order to evacuate.
Well, maybe that's why there was no evacuation plan. Like nobody knew to leave until the beams were already coming.
I'm just saying that if you can argue that they had enough time to get to the beach, you can argue that they had time to get to a ship.
But going back,
And you know,
where could they have gotten a ship from where they were though?
there were ships all around the base. They were flying in and out.
I gotta watch Rogue One in the beginning. You know you can watch Rogue One. Buy it from FYE. Netflix, I hate you. You know why?
Okay, so this is what I think what happened. Is I think that they jumped from the top and
Got it.
wait,
Critical Role.
they got a nat 20. Both of them got nat 20s.
Nat 20s.
They did the hero landing,
Natty 20s.
hit the ground, and they walked to the beach. That's what I think they did.
I
But-
hate
Got
it.
them natties.
so with the natural 20,
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is, DM stuff, and, again, first rule D&D is what DM says happens. So even though I believe it should be at the very least a success, and if the player's trying to overreach something, like if it's something where if you have a character who's computer illiterate and he's gonna try to hack a computer, because there's different things. It talks about it in one of the D&D books. I can't remember which one, but it's something where, or it might be one of the Pathfinder books where they're talking about skill checks, but it's like different, a character like a barbarian and a wizard are, doing an Arcana check about Dragon's Fire. A barbarian, if they succeed, or, they'll know that red dragon makes fire, just fire, green dragon, poison smoke, blue dragon, electricity, blah, blah, blah. But a wizard will know, actually, that has a range of this, and they can go like this, and blah, blah, blah. And so maybe something where, for example, on a nat 20, the barbarian, he would know something more like, he would have a rough estimate of what it is. And so as the DM, you can decide, for example, for the whole thing, they just jumped out of the tower and got natty 20s. It's like, okay, well, since that tower's super high, you're going to take, I don't know, just 2 giant handfuls of D6 fall damage, right? You can say, okay, we both got natty 20s. Like, okay, fine, you got a nat 20. So you're only going to get 1 giant handful of D6 damage, or something where, for the opposite, for if you get a 1 for a fail, it could be something where, let's say you have a computer expert. If he gets a 1, he still fails, but he doesn't fail as spectacularly, because we've all had days where we're off or we're doing something when we're off, like I've fallen up the stairs before, which is everyone had at some point. You probably fallen up the stairs. Psych.
People do that all the time at my work.
Yeah.
Somehow they fall up the stairs.
How?
Okay, so it's how the stairs at my work are stupid, by the way. So they're just a little bit smaller than they should be, which makes people trip up them.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to
everyone has moments where they suck for just a second. It can be like a nat 1 on for example, for a perception check, when sometimes I'll be driving down the road and I'll just sort of be feeling my pockets and oh my gosh, where are my car keys? And wait a minute, I'm on the highway. I probably have and then a second later, that's a nat 1 for my perception check, or nat 20 for.
I want to say something.
Yeah.
If you guys don't mind, just with with a roll. I mean, if it's not possible, don't let them roll on it. Just tell them it's not possible.
Well, either tell them it's not possible or put the threshold high of they'll have to get a 36 with their shit to.
I'm just saying, the example you had, I thought was a really good example. Just for the fact that, you're going to have to roll 3 different dice, which means to get a critical strike, put it in context. So you're going to set the context. So to get a critical roll, you're going to have to roll a 20 on all 3 dice for it to be critical. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to be like anything else. I feel like if you're going to let them roll, it needs to have kind of the same threshold as a normal, DC save, where, you're basically going to have to get up in that top 75% of the gap to really make it happen. And if they don't get into that gap, you should accept that you didn't succeed. Now, if they critical roll on something like the stealth, okay, no, you didn't get to stab them in the neck, but they didn't catch you. They didn't realize that it was you. They were distracted by something else and thought it was an animal knocking a rock off a tree that hit him in the neck. Like,
well, there's a reason why I let even impossible to do for that character things happen, especially for knowledge checks, things like that. Because even though you don't know all of a thing, like if you're trying to do Arcana, say you're a barbarian, you're trying to do Arcana to figure out why the dragon's, what kind of thing that dragon's going to breathe out, you don't know why it's breathing the fire if you do get a 20 plus all your modifiers, but you do know what you can know, where you can learn from that. So say you take that knowledge and then you make another check, like a nature check or what have you, those would compound onto each other to give more time to learn something over time than just that immediate gratification.
Right.
The reason why I don't really like the barbarian versus wizard thing is because you either know something or you're able to learn from something, or you don't. And that difference between the barbarian not knowing something and the wizard not knowing, and the wizard knowing something about that would be, okay, so say they both roll their highest things possible. Mm-hmm. The barbarian rolls a 20 and it doesn't have anything in intelligence. Well, it's just going to know what it gets, that 20 cap right there. The wizard having a high intelligence, possibly a high arcana, that would end up being like a 30 or something. That's why it doesn't make sense to restrict knowledge to classes. That also makes it so that players would only be playing to their classes instead of playing to what their characters are.
Yeah, I'll just say that just because of an example, because typically barbarians, they don't know nothing about no fancy book learning.
That's a, I don't know.
I know what you mean. Hard and fast example because Arcana and stuff.
All right.
But yeah, so just because and like you're like with like Craig said with your guy, we had to roll 3 different checks. It's like, okay, so yeah, you like how on a performance review where it's like, okay, in this section you did really good. This section, I don't know, you didn't talk about the survey, so you fail. His
really crappy perception roll means that he was not aware of other things that happen at the same time. Maybe someone else, like maybe he was really stealthy, but it drew the attention because of his perception of someone who was outside of the thing. But I mean, do it in a way that you're not just like making up something against the character just because they failed a perception check. I mean, maybe
he's not noticing the patrol because they're just walking around. There's a patrol.
Yeah,
well, actually, I mean, the thing about that,
you got to do something that pertains to the perception that doesn't create some sort of like weird meta situation where you're just kind of trying to penalize them for failing a check. Like maybe that perception was for the overall thing, but it didn't really have much to do with the entire situation. It was mostly just to give them a difficulty rating.
The thing about that perception check, though, it was to see who else was in the room, because he saw the one orc and then he saw the 2 orcs that he was talking to.
Right.
But he didn't know that there were some. I think there was something on the floor. I think it was just like a corpse or something.
Yeah.
He didn't notice that there was a corpse on the floor, so that's why it was all together. So so it's better to plot your skill checks and whatnot around your room than just make it a random challenge.
That's what I'm saying is like the perceptive value has to be for something. Don't just throw it in if it has no value in there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if there's another group and you're throwing in a perception roll to see if they're perceiving you there, if they succeed the stealth, maybe they don't see that it was a person, but maybe, you know, something else is happening because of the failed perception. Yeah. But don't just create something because you decided to include perception because you wanted 3 things for them to roll on and have to get 3 Roll20 or 3 20-sided dice to land on 20.
Also,
you know?
DMs, if you're doing this, if you do have that one jerk player who just will not stop chuckling and thinks that and ruining the game for everybody, maybe his rolls are just higher. Maybe, you know, who's to say that the monster he's fighting, they just have an armor class of 25 when the other goblins had an armor class of 15. Who's to say?
Yeah, he decided to fight fighting, you know, the most fightingest goblin ever.
Maybe he decided to take on Fighting Steve.
Oh, man. See, I don't like that.
He's fighting.
If you don't like someone in your game, just kick him out of your game. Don't
he's fighting a goblin, and the goblin takes its mask off, and then it's Shaggy or Susan.
No, it's Shrek.
No, it's like, yeah, you're fighting a goblin, and the goblin's like, oh, glad I've only been fucking at 1% onion, and he pulls out an onion and just bites it, and he's like, brr, 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 brr.
Somebody wants
told me.
All right, I feel like we're getting into this, so let's go on.
Weeds.
Something that I wanted to bring up here, something that a lot of a lot of those brainy smart guys.
Oh no! What did we do?
Are being real dumb about. Yeah, it's robots.
Robots.
Yeah, robots. So I was reading something while I was thinking while I was at work, because I don't actually work, and there's two neat things. One, do you know at Salt Lake City, here in the gal place Salt Lake City, we're getting those little self-driving shuttles.
Yeah, they're testing them
out
here.
Hell yeah.
North Salt Lake. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. There's only like, what is it, 8 to 12 passengers, 8 to 15
8
or
to
so.
12, and they are self-driving. They can only do about 15 miles an hour, but they're completely autonomous.
Yeah, they're completely autonomous. Again, it's just because it's a test thing.
So it's like a bus? Like you...
Yeah, it senses that people are there at the stops, I guess, that it's set to stop at. So if it senses people there, it stops, lets them get on. People, you push a button on the side to indicate to open the door, so it's kind of like the confirmation that people are getting on. Waits till you get on, and then closes up and takes off. So it's just like a city bus,
Yeah.
but slower, and they're smaller too. They're weirdly
It's
like
because a typical bus, like what, 40 people, I want to say.
well, this
Yeah,
this
it
looks
just kinda
more
depends
like
on
a
the size of the bus.
shuttle, like on a college campus.
yeah.
Yeah, which is still
And
like,
it,
a little bit.
saying, like,
It's a little bit
neighborhood.
longer than maybe like a minivan, but it
bus?
kind of
Yeah.
almost seems about the same size as a minivan, except there's no room for the engine. That would be just like another row of seats.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like a small.
what did they move at 15 miles an hour? That's a fast.
It's way faster than you
So-
walk, and it's decent. It's a decent biking speed.
Yeah, that's like biking speed. So again, if you're like, even if you're downtown, I guess we're losing a little time.
I think that's the only place they would be like kind of deployed. Is kind of like those urban areas where where there tends to be a lot of foot traffic. And these aren't intended to be in traffic. They're supposed to be some
So-
sort of like different pathing.
So not like downtown Salt Lake. That wouldn't be a good place for it. It's in on Wasatch. I don't know what that is.
So they're going to test them across the Wasatch Front, which is going to be, I don't know, different neighborhoods.
Because I have
You
no
just
idea
know
what that is.
actually
But
interprets.
it does seem like they would made follow on their own designated paths, sort of thing. Like there
Yeah.
should be like a path opened up for them, something like that. But that's still really cool. It's like, Blade Runner technology happened and things like that, which maybe when you guys are like 40 and 50 and whatnot, you guys can
you'll
see
be 80.
flying cars and robot prostitutes.
Actually, they kind of have those, like some of the
prostitutes?
They actually are bordellos where they just have a mommy and adult special time dolls. But yeah, no actual ladies or fellas working there as the sex workers. It's just dolls, and some of the dolls, they are programmed with certain things that they like or don't like, and some of like if you're being mean to the robot,
We were
it'll-
talking about robot hookers.
it'll
now.
just
What did I miss?
Yeah.
I come back.
We were talking.
And
Yeah.
you're talking. When
Yeah,
I left, you were talking about
you were the-
self-driving
look,
cars.
look, you were the
When
moral-
whipped your dick in there, we whipped out our
You were
dicks out
talking
here.
about
No,
robot
figuratively.
listen, robot hookers now. Keep
No, 'cause,
going.
yeah. But yeah, some of it's like if you're being mean to them, they'll just be like, fine, I'm just turning myself off.
I love. No, it's really cool because, all right, no, it makes sense. Mostly because I'm a filthy human being, so I support prostitution. But also, it's another one. It's another one.
So it's safe.
Yeah, just play it safe. But it's another one of those things where the more they, even though it is kind of a taboo thing for the artificial intelligence to want to go into, the more that they do try to interact with humans, even in that way, the better that they will be in understanding human interactions, intimacy, knowing how to deal with specific people. So it can be a benefit to that. It seems like you just are not about this at all, though.
No.
You're not with robot hookers, are you?
No, I am. I'm
Okay.
totally fine with that. I would much rather someone who's like fulfilling a need to go take it out on a robot than take it out on a unsuspecting human victim. I mean,
Exactly.
think
And
about
also,
that.
and also, you can have, like, say, fulfilling a need, you can go out and you can have, some sort of like robot hooker we can either beat up or choke out or burn, things
Or
like that.
have a robot
wouldn't
that'll
take that, but-
deliver snacks.
No, just
To
beat
be
up or
wholesome,
choke out or
to be-
burn.
or to get back on the wholesome
really,
boy track.
really get rid of all that frustration, just hate you're boiling inside because it's
Lance, we can talk later.
Are
but
we
also,
cycling into Jack the Ripper now?
so here's the thing.
I'm being
Or
serious,
have
right?
robots that deliver like snacks to you, or
On the other side of this, though,
They do that at hotels. They have like room service.
Yeah.
they have room service robots.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of big
Never seen
hotels
this, and I
now.
can tell a lot of
No,
them.
there's like a lot of big hotels now that like if you
the fancy
like
ones.
you like fancy ones that
They
you're
don't have
already
like
paying.
Holiday Inn.
Like
No,
no,
not-
you're
maybe like
you're
20
already
years.
paying $1,000 for your room
Oh,
at night,
okay.
and like you order like, oh man, I blammed all over my sheets. I need some new ones. And then you push a button.
did you say?
And then the robot.
I clammed?
No, blam.
and then the robot delivers
Like,
some
I've
new
never
sheets to
heard
your
that
room.
I use it all the time. You never
Never heard that one.
Blam?
Oh man, Lance, you got us on a bad time.
Good.
God damn.
But you
Hey,
blam no one.
all right, let's
I
go.
like it.
You're a weird person. You should feel ashamed.
I've
just
never
got-
heard of these. I've never heard of this before, but keep going. It's super
Yeah,
cool.
it's literally like a robot that will deliver stuff to your
Dude, that is-
hotel room.
Yeah, I think they're mostly like
cool.
Asia.
If you want like hot towels, I think they have some in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, like you like want hot towels and it brings you more towels, or
I
you want some Nutter Butters and you got.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that they're
And then you
sneaking
just
it up.
like open it up. It's like a little powder. You open
I
it
love
up.
it.
See, I've just got like a billion ideas in my head, and now I'm like, freak.
No, I love that they're sneaking robots up on us, like the self-driving shuttles, those ones that are in City Hall that
Deliver documents.
Yeah, deliver documents. These new ones in the hotels. It's not like one day computer's just gonna happen. It start off with Google Glass. Okay, that looks kind of goofy. So now moving on to the next thing.
I saw someone with Google Glass, by the way.
Yeah?
It was a doctor at a doctor's office.
How long ago?
Just the other day,
Oh,
like
man.
December, when I had that infection in my leg, which was super fun, by the
I
way.
love it.
So I was walking out the hall, and she came out and had the Google Glass right on her glasses, and I was like, "What?
A guy at Netflix.
Someone actually uses this thing?"
A guy at Netflix used to have it, and he
Yeah.
he was a sweetie. I liked him, but
Was he one of those guys who was like,
He
just
was-
like way hipstery?
he was just way too into having technology.
Yeah.
He was a total sweetie. I would say hey to him every time I'd see him. We talked for a little bit, but again, he wasn't that guy. But it's sort of like back when Palm Pilots were a thing, but there's only like one guy with a Palm Pilot,
Yeah.
and you knew damn well who it was even before.
Yeah.
He was him.
Yeah.
Again, he wasn't a bad guy. I liked him a lot, but
He was low
He
key
didn't
flexing.
like-
yeah, it was always a flex to have it.
Yeah.
It didn't ever.
It's like the
catch
guys
on enough.
who got like the
Easy flow
the
Volvo?
Teslas, like as soon as they
Yeah,
came
it was
out.
that. It was-
They're like the first one on the
He-
list for a Tesla.
He didn't like the smell of his own farts because
Not that
like,
Teslas
everything
aren't
that
cool,
came
it's
out
just
of it was
like-
gold.
Have to be that
No,
first
he was
one to
a
get
sweetie.
it.
I loved him.
Yeah, I
talked
know
to him
what
every
you're
time.
talking about.
But yeah, it didn't catch on because Google Glass is a really good idea. I liked it a lot. I wish it would have caught on because it was one of those things that could have made the future happen
Hey,
sooner.
let's not say it hasn't caught on yet, because apparently doctors are using it.
Well, it's coming,
You know,
it's coming back. Samsung's making a
Yeah.
comeback. So I think that was a marketing thing by Samsung, if I can
I
go
know.
kind of conspiracy thing here, where Google Glass had it, a bunch of people shunned it and mocked it and things like that, but didn't have a good
Yeah.
reason why they were mocking it. And now Samsung is having it, much like the Apple Watch.
Right, but back to the robotics conversation.
Oh, yes, back to robot
Sorry.
hookers. The flip side of
We're
robot
off
hookers,
subject.
China's actually having robot cops, which
Right.
I'm thinking it's not as scary as I think it's going to be because they're not just going to shoot me for a DWB, but it's weird because I feel like that's the perfect place to have a robot cop.
You
in
don't
China.
know that it won't, like, because DWB could be just as easily programmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
They
Like-
have like a slider for like a crime
I'm
slider.
sorry. Like,
Yeah.
and especially,
Judge Dredd.
especially in a place like China, you will be like the only one on the block.
But
you
every
know?
time I was there, I got looked. They could see me through the smog. But
Whoa! The smog was that clear. They could like how far away? Like,
like about it wasn't far, like 10 feet.
dude, it was that clear.
Yeah, it was a good day. It was a real
It was not a clear day. It just rained.
but China's actually kind of interesting because they have that whole system of social currency.
Oh,
That's what
And so, like, having robots, like, wandering around, basically, like, dispensing social currency is kind of
So
interesting.
what is a social currency?
So China actually has a system kind of in place where you have a sort of responsibility to be socially responsible. So you're expected to be a good person. And that means, like, paying your debts, not, breaking the law.
Well, yeah, no, I will. They do have programs where it's like if you don't pay your debts, they'll send stuff to all your neighbors saying, this person's a debtor.
That's an app, but there are some things that can punish you for like not paying off your debts. Like you could be basically not eligible for government programs, or like colleges and universities are based off the social currency, so you might not be able to attend college at a state-sponsored university.
Yeah.
Like, or driving benefits. Like, I mean, the fact they have such a high population, driving is very much not a
right.
It's definitely a privilege, and so you may not even be able to purchase a vehicle based on your social
if you don't
currency.
Have enough good points.
And the longer it's gone, the more wide that's going. But it's also complicated because what might be something in Shanghai isn't the same in like rural China. Like the social currency doesn't mean the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a very convoluted and weird and complex system.
Well, let's have just a lot of
having robots just kind of like dispense social justice, kind of like, what?
Oh no! So, like just they have like green panels on the top, social justice. Detective. That's not the green panel. But the other thing is, there's also a lot of there's like a weird like really spooky Fahrenheit 451 where it's like. Yeah, like they have certain things like, we just sort of have enough cameras to spy on everyone for all time. And also they have things like, apparently at KFCs in China, they have things where you go in front of them and they scan you to see what you would want to eat. Where it's like they're basically
and if you're
flexing
healthy,
enough.
If you're healthy, it like gives you a discount.
That's perfect. That's a great idea.
I mean, that's
amazing.
I like it, but like you can't order.
It charges you more.
No, you can't order more. Like it limits how much you can order.
That's wonderful.
I'm like, okay, all that's gonna make me do is go buy KFC here and then go buy it in the next store.
You'd be
so
walking
you just are gonna go buy KFC and then McDonald's next
Craig,
door.
here's the thing. You would be walking, and then it would know.
Or it's gonna have a whole black market where they just have like skinny people who they're just like the orderers.
Like this freaking guy.
Yeah, like Nathaniel, like we don't have to be like, Nathaniel, Daddy wants Daddy needs those 11 herbs and spices in his life. And then we'd have to pay you like $10 and then you go to like, KFC and then you order a bunch of stuff.
You just got street vendors with pirated French fries.
I mean, they already have knockoff
like, yo
everything.
Guys, you gotta want a French fry.
Yeah,
I know you can't get them in there.
Yeah, instead of like a watch, like the Rolex, it's like, hey guys, want to buy some chicken nuggets?
And it's just hanging nuggets and tendies. But no, okay. So the reason China's a really good place for this because they don't have like a democracy or anything like any of their people can really have too much of a say with things. You know what you're about, China.
All those pesky human rights laws.
So yeah, all those human rights laws. Where there's not like a right to security and privacy and things like that. So robots that go around scanning your face at every corner, that's the perfect test grounds for it because the government already does have enough power to do that. Where it's a really good place for it. Well, that wouldn't fly in America until it's really keyed in.
And I'm not talking about the moral aspect of it because there's an argument to be made that when you're trying to help someone be healthier, that there is a good intent behind that. I'm not bashing China for doing that, especially with how many people they have and all kinds of the problems that go along with having so many people. Like when you're trying to control some of the factors that really hurt on a social economic level, I can't blame China for taking a look at their obesity rates. And they have a great example in the United States, unfortunately, to see what the healthcare costs can be of major obesity. I myself, unfortunately, am one of the participators, which is not a great thing. And so, like, I can see if I were to go into KFC and I would be restricted on what I would eat,
it would hurt now.
It would help me.
It would hurt your feelings, but it'd help you in the future for sure.
Exactly.
Which I would probably benefit. I would benefit from that program too.
Yeah.
You would.
Nathaniel.
You not so much.
Yeah, Nathaniel, they'd like make you eat extra chicken.
Perfect body piece enough.
But to the American point, if I was a restaurant business, right, and if I were to be like, you know what, let's have the same thing, but let's do it the opposite way. Hold on. I offer a discount for someone who orders something that's a healthy option. and then like that way I get a kickback or something like from the government or something like that for participating in a health initiative or something. You could do it in our current free economy without having it penalize everyone at the same time.
But we want to test that there where the smog and muck monsters are first before
you do all the research and then we'll steal your good idea.
But also with robots,
free market.
They can also do stuff where it's like they can really make it cutesy, like the face scan robots, like that little my little robot son that you hate for some reason. He can scan your face and recognize faces. Nathaniel, you lied to him, so now he says that your name is Dylan.
Yeah,
and so he gets real confused when you're like, "What's my name, Vector?" And he says, Sue Dillons.
Well, I mean, that's okay. There's gonna be two guys named Dylan. If everyone doesn't know that, though,
that's Robo-Law. Only one. Like the but also
Highlander,
but like also like how we're also like little cutesy robots. That's kind of creepy. I think also maybe during the robot uprising, they might do things where instead of the Terminator looking all spooky, scary, like basically just having a skull face with glowing red eyes, they can give them a lot of like soft edges and like give them like a little cutesy face with like. Boop, boop, boop,
That's actually what they do with that police robot in China. They made it really soft looking. It looks like a big suppository.
Like
it looks really like cute and unassuming, but it has like a little stun baton on it that'll mess you up if you do stuff.
They actually put like a gun port in there.
It does have a stun baton that some other operator somewhere else uses to like just cattle prod people. It face scans people so like it can check. Okay, who here has an unpaid parking ticket or anything like that?
And that's where they stun baton.
Well, no, they'll go up to them and serve them that ticket. So it's really great if you don't do anything wrong. There's privacy concerns for it for sure. I don't know why, because I'm a good boy and I've never done anything wrong.
Yeah, Lance.
But it does. But I understand why people with privacy concerns are scared. But at the same time, it seems like it's just a step in a better direction. I know a lot of smart people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and that one friggin' guy with the perfect face, I don't remember his name, are really against it. What do you guys think of all this big data hoopla that's going around?
Well, I mean, for Bill Gates' point, I would say, like, I think his concerns are just far more elsewhere.
Like, what do you mean?
Like trying to get water to Africa?
Well, no, because he's spoken out against like all this data collection that's going on. I think I'm really dumb, so I might be mistaking him with Elon Musk because the two rich guys that won't let me touch him. But no, I think it is Elon Musk who has warned people against artificial intelligence and all this convenience that there's going to be some sort of bubble that pops where we're all covered in like artificial intelligence muck and whatnot.
What?
We're not talking about like a Skynet bubble pop. We're talking about an economic labor market pop.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I can understand his concern with that because once you eliminate enough jobs, there becomes a burden on the public or the owners of that.
Sam Harris.
You're gonna shift the financial responsibility away from the lowest class of labor because they no longer have any work because it's all been eliminated, and then you force the work to the financial burden to people that are higher up because they're the only ones with money at that point.
I feel like the amount of skill. Okay, so here's how I feel like it's going to work out. Again, I'm no Sam Harris. I'm a real big idiot, so I don't know. But the first people that are going to be replaced are going to be people in the upper crust, people like IT professionals, data engineers, programmers, doctors, things like that.
Right.
Because those are the things that AI is replacing right now.
Right.
Because if you can have one,
but not hospital administrators, corporation owners, board members, any of that type of thing. It's not going to be decision makers. It's going to be actual laborers. So like a doctor, even though skilled labor is considered labor, is what they're looking at. They're not looking at anything that would replace someone on a board or owning a company. Which that's what I was talking about. Like that financial burden is shifted then to them. They're the only ones who actually have a job that's worth anything. And they have no social responsibility to take care of anyone.
Well, also, with the board of directors, they're just trying to say, what would make more money? If computers get smart enough, they could outright them out of a job. Like I think there's an old Twilight Zone I like about it where it's like they slowly but surely, and this is back in the 60s where it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know, something that goes like, it's like, oh no, the machines are coming.
Yeah.
But back then they had something where the whole point of the episode was, it was everyone getting replaced with robots and automation until it was just one guy, like just the boss sitting there, like twirling his pocket watch, because I guess back in the 60s, that's what the boss did, and sort of got their pocket watch and sort of twirled it, and then he was like, yeah, I'm the president of, I don't know, this division, this company or whatever, but then it's like, eventually it's like, well, computers are going to get smart enough that because with data stuff, like, you know, what to invest in, that could all just be like algorithms and like, oh, boop, 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 boop,
right.
boop. Like, there's this famous example where Target, there's this dad who started getting all this stuff addressed to his daughter where it was for things like baby clothes and stuff like that. And he was outraged, like, why are you sending my underage daughter stuff for, like, baby clothes? She's not ready to, she's blah, 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 she's not going to have the kid. And then 2 weeks later, he wrote them an apology letter saying, hey, sorry, there's stuff going on in my house I didn't know about. She's pregnant. Because their algorithms were tracking what she was buying. So she was buying things that people that maybe they don't quite know they're pregnant yet, how they shift their buying habits, and then she started buying other things.
And that's really easy to transfer over into,
for like a business guy.
Yeah, the business market. Those people, those higher up CEOs who do a lot of risk management, things like that.
That could be
They
automated.
they can't run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, doing a lot of risk management things where an artificial intelligence thing totally can. So even they would be even at higher risk to be replaced, I would think, than say some hotel concierge or a prostitute or anything like that people do want a human touch for.
But literally, that was the end of the Twilight Zone episode. Was they eventually replaced the CEO, and they had like a big robot, and I guess because Fallout just looks at old stuff, but he looked basically like a Protectron, but they still made him. They put like a little metal tie on him, and they gave the robot a pocket watch, so he was sitting there in his office. He was like,
but he was making it fast, cutting things down.
He actually was spinning it a lot faster, but he had like big robot pinch arms, like pinch.
But okay, so the thing with that is, I feel like the higher up CEOs, because we basically think of CEOs and business owners, unless they're small business owners, we basically see them as robots anyway, faceless robots anyway. They just see different versions of pro versus con, risk management, things like that. So even societally, they would be easier to replace than your common blue collar worker.
But because they're a decision maker as a business owner, they would be less inclined to choose to replace themselves.
And you're saying those living robots in Silicon Valley wouldn't come up with some sort of machine that would replace them, privately market it out?
Yeah, because it'd be something where they wouldn't be advertising it to the board of directors or whoever, or to the heads of whatever. They'd be going to the direct owner saying, hey, Mr. Doritos.
In many cases, the board is the owning entity.
But like whoever,
that's a good point. But
there's something where it's like, there's always going to be like politics or whatever, but it's something where they get like the one owner and they're going to buy it out. It's like, hey, we have...
You guys have gone a different direction of what that point was intended to mean. So to refocus, what I'm trying to say is that Elon Musk's concern about that labor bubble has to do with like the fact that there's a certain point where replacing so much labor creates a void that has to be replaced.
And you don't think there's a lot...
And that void is the unemployed laborers that have nowhere to go, nowhere to work. And once you have that, you have no one to buy your product, which then creates lack of demand, which then means there's no business.
And you don't think, and I'm sincerely, I don't mean to ask this question to assert my point. I'm asking as a general, as sincere asking a question here. Do you think that there would be more of a demand or more of a job opened up for hospitality works, things like that? Because as technology and science is getting better, people are living longer. People are going on more trips, things like that, than they were before. They have more spending money. So do you think that those hospitality positions, there'd be more jobs opened up like that somebody want to work with a person rather than a machine with? Is there a new industry like that opening up?
I mean...
Because Japan already needs it. Japan, they have a bunch more old people than they thought they would, but nobody wants to be a nurse there. Nobody wants to really take care of old people there. So now there's this huge demand for young people to do that hospitality labor, but they got a bunch of gosh darn robots there and whatnot to.
But I think also it'd be one of those things where at some point it's like, yeah, you could, you can't have literally everyone be customer service, because then, first of all, everyone's going to be paid like the same, and there's going to be certain things where it's like, part of the economy is there's the bargain basement version, then there's the nice version of something. So you're gonna, at some point, it is gonna pop, like Craig said, it may be less than, like you're saying, like, oh well, there's gonna be a lot more customer service or things open up, but something where not everyone can be customer service, and eventually someone's gonna think, wait a minute, I can make a whole bunch of money because they're actually kind of getting better at some things with customer service. Like my dad's, I don't know what he was calling in for, but it was something where the robocall, it sounded very human. So instead of saying, please wait while I connect you, it did things like, he said, like they programmed the robot to say things like, and,
I think with that bubble, one of the warnings is if you go far enough down this path of replacing all of your workforce, payable workforce, with cheaper, efficient robots or whatever else, eventually you get to a point where robots either have to take care of the people that have no more, and there's not really going to be any more currency, if you will, or you're going to have to address it now and ensure that your human labor force always has something to do.
Is that why it's working?
And be paid for it.
Is that why China's doing it first? Because they're a bunch of communists, so they don't really have to worry about. And I'm asking that sincerely because.
No, I mean, but that might be why they're trying to adopt a form of social currency where better people doing good things are rewarded more effectively, because rather than trying to reward them with money, they would reward good behavior and good people with the opportunities to go to college, learn more, have access to drive, and get access to something that would give them the option to go travel to do things. Whereas the scum of your society don't get those same benefits.
You know what this actually sounds like? This sounds like
Star Trek.
This not only Star Trek, but this sounds like a really good way. This sounds like a really good campaign arc for Starfinder.
Yeah.
Even if you are running like a less space technology, more terrestrial technology like game.
Well, maybe it's Starfinder where it's only like, because I know the timeline's like 300 years after the gap. Maybe this is like 2,000 years after the gap where robots got real good and they took all the jobs. So now the only job is murder hobo. And it's like everyone's like. It's like, okay, so
the robots bet on your outcomes.
Yeah, well, no, because it's like for some reason, the only thing is like, go be murder hobos, or it's like,
I don't know why the robots telling me that, but so I could think of what it could be where you are sort of hired on. Tell me what you think about this, Nathaniel. Is say you're hired on by a human first organization, whether that be a gang or a corporation or what have you, and you do sense that there has been word from them that there is some force, some company that is getting really close to creating the decision maker robot sort of thing, the decision making AIs. So you have to infiltrate that company to sabotage it from the outside. How would you make some sort of campaign out of stopping one of these AI corporations or anything like that from going too far with this and edging people out of a job market?
As far as a campaign setting?
Yeah, but also solve the world's problems through Starfinder.
I don't know.
Do it. One thing I think it would be interesting at first to have a few series of investigation like quests where you do have to go out and figure out who specifically is making this technology. Is there a way to reason with them, because murder would possibly be a last resort sort of thing for this. And then have a few combat encounters. Maybe there's something like they do have robots who have done their
well, we already have drones that that
Whoa.
can
Drones
shoot
would be a good
weapons.
enemy, yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is we already have drones right now that
Yeah.
shoot weapons, so it's not far-fetched to think that they would be able to, that we would fight those.
They don't even
Then-
have to be humanoid, but go on.
Yeah.
Then would it be a high magic
No,
campaign?
it would be low to no magic, I want to say.
Then you'd pretty much just be fist fighting.
Well, yeah,
your
so like,
players.
well,
Like
yeah,
your players
so-
would be like fist fighting.
well,
and
with guns.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah,
ideally, like,
like how
this
Starfighter
campaign-
basically has no magic anyway.
Yeah.
well, like, let's think of, like, Blade Runner in that respect. So, like, if you're setting it into a time period, you know, it's like 2149. Okay, so
Yeah.
not so far in the future that it seems far-fetched, but not far enough in the future that it's completely Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right? So just somewhere where it's kind of maybe a little bit, getting a little bit dystopian because you have all these unemployed people that have no way to find work. Or maybe it's kind of utopic where people have stopped needing work. How do you convince people to join your side when they're so complacent
Do you
with
think
like
it's gonna
everything?
be? Ooh, do you think it's gonna
that's,
be?
God.
Do you think it's going to be utopic, or do you think it's going to be more nobody has jobs, the upper society, they basically steal poor people's blood, and they do whatever they want, and they have gross orgies in the
Right.
street?
But that's the thing, though. It could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's so interesting about a robotic robotic
future.
future is that once you pass singularity, like the robots suddenly become the leaders, and what they decide to do with humans is one of two ways. They either decide they're a threat to us, let's destroy them, or they need to be taken care of. That's been our mission the entire time, so let's take care of them.
Yeah.
Let's make their lives better. Let's make them live longer.
This sounds like the prequel to Up. Or not Up, Wall-E. No, it's a
Yeah.
Wall-E.
Yeah,
Because you know how like the people were
The
dead.
prequel up was just his wife dying.
No, yeah, the prequel to Up
Yeah.
was the guy's wife
No, the
dying.
prequel to Up was him having amazing adventures
with his
being
wife.
in love
Yeah,
and things
I
like that.
know.
Shoot.
Up was the wife dying. I know about that.
No
Right?
high five.
That's a up.
All right.
Look,
But no,
you know I
it's the prequel
normally,
to Wall-E.
I normally high five that, but oh shit,
The prequel to Wall-E.
you just leave it a little bit more vague. So it was
Nah.
a direct that I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
want to
hilariously
high five.
cool that way. But anyway, no, this is like the prequel to Wall-E, where everybody gets way too complacent. Robots start taking over,
Yeah.
and then what if you don't want it to happen? What if you want people to actually, walk
Yeah,
around?
so that brings you to two types of campaigns, or maybe any different ones, but two that I can think of. Like you would have the dystopian type of thing where you're trying to make the world better for humans, right? But then there's maybe kind of the anti-robot terrorist type campaign where you're kind of actually the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because it's
Because these robots are just trying to take care of them, and you're trying to destroy that whole system.
Yeah, you're trying to.
And then what are the repercussions of that? Maybe you're teaching that robot that you're now a sudden threat, and suddenly
maybe
there's a shift in
humans
the
are
whole power
threats.
structure.
Humans are
And
threats
then
because
and
they
then
can
these
topple
robots
them.
who were once taking care of humans suddenly shift and go murder them all.
It turns into Terminator
Yeah,
real quick.
Yeah,
Because, yeah,
and then it's Skynet's right at
That
the
could be the
end.
stakes. That can actually be the stakes of this campaign.
Right.
If you go in guns blazing.
if you fail this, or if you aren't,
Do it-
sneaky enough,
do it in
you
the
do
wrong
it wrong,
way.
then yeah, guess what? These guys they're just making people basically into just soft things, which people shouldn't be. Now they're Terminator robots that are turning as soft and they're pulling inside out.
And at the end, you decide to either take over the AI, destroy them all, or become one with them.
Mass Effect.
Thank you.
But I feel
I knew it was. I just didn't want to say it because it's like
Blue, green, and red, buddy.
too soon. It'll always be too soon.
that would be a really interesting. I wanted to say
Yeah.
story arc, just because if you're the end of the arc is bigger than just your character dying, and it's not
fact-
just Cthulhu monsters are going to come in. It's
Yeah.
something you're actually doing.
In fact, Mass Effect is actually a really great idea for the campaign.
Is
If you
there
were
wrong
to
at the
draw
end?
any imaginative resources, the Geth, the EDI, all the things that kind of go into Mass Effect, like those could be part of your campaign. Those types of same ideas. That's actually a really good imaginative resource to tap.
What do you guys think? I always say stuff. A bunch of dumb guys like me. What do you think? I ain't that dumb. But they're just here to help. Maybe they'll just make the future softer. Maybe they'll get those people that are higher up in their castles back down to human level, where they're not just, I'm in charge because I'm the watch spinning, decision maker, the CEO. Or is this going to be some robot annihilation like Terminator? Let me know, because I kind of want to know what you guys think. But only if you agree with me. Your old Uncle Lance. Wink.
Or your cousin Krang. Traitor!
Okay, and also, what do you guys think? What do you think? How is this all going to turn out? Do you think... Because it's not going to stop, I think. It's just going to... Technology is going to keep building up until the sun explodes. Do you think it's going to end up good for people or bad for people?
I mean, there's too many variables that go into it, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to really say. Like, there's way too much that goes into it.
My hope is that it turns into Star Trek.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean,
I hope it turns into Blade Runner, where there is like a caste system in society.
But I'm a replicant.
I'm probably going to end up in the middle, just because I know what I'm about.
Look, as long as they transfer my consciousness into one of these robots, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's all
but the
I
thing
want.
is, you got to be a prostitute robot.
But
I'm a robot, so it's not really my
But
body.
you still feel it.
Oh, touche.
Yeah.
Shit.
But I mean, I don't know.
Well, if I have a hot robot body, maybe,
No, you just...
It's just all going to be a bunch of greasy guys. The name's all.
Why is it dudes? I'm a dude.
Yeah, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, listen. No, but I mean,
You're thrown through the tent hole.
with the robot...
I would think that ladies would like this
with
piece of meat.
With the robots or whatever, with the bubble popping, I think there's a big chance of the bubble popping, but then I think it's going to be one of those things where you're going to have too many people who are going to be all of a sudden unemployed. And I'm not going to be saying like, ooh, there's going to be a big revolution, we're all going to win. But there's going to be something where, maybe like a revolution where everyone's like, well, I don't have a lot of money. I have just enough money to go to the gun store, buy a 12 gauge and then go walk up to the CEO guys is walking around like, hey, Mr. Fancyton, bam, and
Do you
something like
think
that.
leave to Mars
Well,
first?
think about this though,
Just shoot 'em.
McDonald's, I think they did the research on it, replacing the front-facing cashier. That robot cost $25,000 for each one they built, right? So if someone were to take out $25,000 worth of equipment with one shot,
Yeah.
2 shots, 3 shots, you've just costed that one franchise $150,000 in damages. They don't want that situation to be created.
Yeah,
so that's
so
where I'm like, I think there's going to be some sort of social negotiation where it's like, okay, well, if
We'll
you're
have
taking
some
this
robots,
much profit,
then-
you're going to have to take on this much social responsibility to take care of the workforce that
Because
you
also,
avoided.
it's one of those things where if the robots, it's kind of like how a lot of the reasons why a lot of gangsters or bank robbers in the 30s, they got away with so much stuff is because the public, they saw them as heroes that are getting back at banks, and that's why they're allowed to got with all the stuff
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm gonna show my face in broad daylight.
Who's gonna turn into robot
and announce and I'm gonna announce my
Or
crimes.
the robot murderers.
And people are gonna show them and be like, but it'll be something where it's like, yeah, so all my family just got let go, and if the cops are like, hey, so did you see who did it? And it's like, you know what? I didn't see a damn thing. Or, officer, I just saw the shot and I just looked down and I was so scared.
Yeah.
Or something like that where, and like you were saying,
You
someone
sound like
just...
my aunt there.
A scar.
On the black side. A scar?
No, but... No, but yeah, like you were saying, there's, I don't know, whatever court...
He was trying to be 1920s, uneducated
lady.
person, but it came off a little bit different. We're sorry.
Listen, also,
that
like,
wasn't the
also-
intent.
No, I loved it. It was great.
I also just like the word skirt.
I love my aunt.
A skirt.
Nah, I don't love her.
But yeah, so it could be something like that where there's going to be some rough times where people are going to have to figure out how much automation's okay, because like you were saying, at some point, there's not going to be anyone to do that, and people are going to be, when people are poor and don't have a lot of things,
Or don't have
to occupy their time,
Yeah.
they're going to find some mischief to get into. Even if they don't have enough money to buy an assault rifle to shoot robots, they're going to say, you know what's also good that's been around since the beginning of time? Rocks. Hit a robot with a rock. Because they took all 100 of us out of job. If all 100 of us just throw big rocks at them,
Speaking of rocks, I think that's where we should end this grock talk. It's been going on for a while now. Remember to comment, subscribe, join our Discord if you want to get into some games of Starfinder and D&D. And bye for now.